Hi everyone. Welcome to this Friday's Let's Talk Health live stream. I hope that you're all doing well and that you had a nice, wonderful week and are looking forward to the weekend coming up. Let me just say hi in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me okay and if everything's okay. So as you can see by the title of today, we're going to be talking a little bit about gut health, and I want to answer your questions about gut health. If you have gut health issues, I'm here to kind of help guide you through them and talk through them, and then I'll be talking a little bit about kind of steps that you can take to help healing your gut. So let's check in with everyone and see how you've all been doing. How has this last week been? I know now things are changing. Fall is coming, or fall has already come, and now people get into different routines now with the fall. So let me know how that adjustment has been for you, and what kind of fall activities or new things have you been up to and doing. I recently went apple picking, so that's something that I like doing, getting outside in nature and doing some sort of nature walks or things in nature. So apple picking was fun and a great thing to do. Let me know if there's anything that you did or anything that you'd recommend doing for anybody out there that's looking for some fun fall activities. Some other nice things are like trying new recipes, so fall inspired recipes. So pumpkin things are always fun, apple baked things are great too. So that's some fun things to do in the fall. Enjoying a nice cup of tea by fireplace if you have one, or just hanging out with family and friends, and enjoying each other's comfort is fun too. So yeah, that's kind of some things I like doing for the fall. Let me know if there's anything that you like doing that you'd recommend that I should do. All right. And then for today, think about any questions that you have in regards to gut health. If you have certain gut health issues, let me know. So welcome if you are new here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and you can come back and join us every Friday where we talk about different health topics. And I recently posted a video on how to identify your food triggers, and I guide you through how to do an elimination diet. So you can check that one out. That's helpful for gut health too. Okay. So in terms of gut health, there's many different symptoms that people experience. A common thing is bloating. A lot of people do experience bloating. I talked about bloating before on the channel, how there's many different underlying causes of bloating. I think that's a pretty common one. Another one that's pretty common is constipation, acid reflux. I think those would be the top 3 things that are pretty common. So let me know if you experience any of those symptoms, and we could talk about that. Some other things would be like IBS. So IBS is kind of an umbrella term for many different symptoms that can happen, whether that be constipation, diarrhea, bloating. Stress can interfere with that too. So there's many different symptoms with IBS. So that would be some other symptoms that some people experience. What else is there? Acid reflux is a pretty big one. Also just nausea. Nausea can be another one that some people experience. So those are some gut issues that people tend to experience. I know I personally have struggled with bloating in the past, and then working through different ways of healing my gut and figuring out what the root cause of it was very helpful to heal my gut. And for me, a big thing was stress. Stress can definitely play a role in gut health. There is that mind and gut connection. So yes, that's kind of some big things. Okay, so somebody mentioned they get acid reflux. Yes, so acid reflux can be due to many different things can cause it. So can be serious things like infections and bacterial overgrowth and H. pylori. Those kind of things can cause acid reflux. But general acid reflux, if it's not caused by something as serious as that, can be due to triggering foods. It can be due to not having enough stomach acid production. So it might sound like a little weird, like why does low stomach acid cause acid reflux? But it's because if you don't have enough stomach acid to digest your food properly, things get kind of stagnant there, and then they cause acid reflux after if they're not digesting food properly. So some ways to help manage acid reflux would be, one, to eliminate triggers. So the most common triggers for acid reflux are things that are acidic, so tomatoes and things like orange juice and oranges. Coffee is a big one. What else can be big triggers? Greasy foods, so really greasy foods and really spicy foods. So those are just some big triggers of acid reflux. So one, I would say, like, try to avoid those things. Another thing would be making sure that you are eating smaller meals. Don't overeat. Don't eat to the point where you feel stuffed, because that can definitely aggravate acid reflux. And then avoid eating late at night. So if your bedtime is 11 p.m., then you shouldn't eat past 7 or 8 o'clock. So give yourself some time to digest your food at night. So those are some common things that can help with acid reflux. And then there's also certain herbs and certain teas that can help with it too. So in terms of herbs, DGL, which is licorice root, but it has a component of it taken away. That's why it's called the DGL part. That can be very helpful for soothing an irritated gut lining. It helps to support the gut lining and soothe like any inflammation that's going on. So that's very helpful for acid reflux. Marshmallow root is another good one, and then slippery elm, that you can buy either in a powder or in a liquid form. And these are all things that are called demulcents in botanical or herbal medicine, and they basically help to soothe an irritated gut lining and help with rebuilding it and preventing acid reflux. So those are some good things that you can try, but really you want to figure out like what are your triggers, because maybe it's not always the coffee or the common ones that I talked about, and see what your triggers are, and that way you can work on healing it and preventing acid reflux. So yeah, let me know if you've tried any of those and if any of those things were helpful for you. I know that some people, like, if you need the relief, then you use the herbs, but the main thing would be the foods, and the meals. Avoiding really large meals are helpful for acid reflux. Just in general, like when you're working on healing your gut, there are certain steps that you have to take. So we can talk a little bit about this. So the first thing you want to do, so this is kind of called like the 4 R's, or there's actually also 5, but let's talk about we'll just do the 4. So the first one is you want to remove. So that's removing food triggers or removing things that are irritating your gut. So here, because if you're constantly eating things that are irritating your gut, or you're constantly taking medications like Advil and stuff that are irritating your gut lining, you're never going to be able to fully heal it. So that's why the step number 1 is so important, to take these things out that are causing you issues. So if you react to gluten and you don't do well with gluten, then you make sure you take that out before working on healing your gut. So that's like the first step. That's very important to do. So don't overlook that step, because once you get that done, then you can work on healing. So that would be the first step. The second one is then to add in good like enzymes and good things that help support digestion. Add in anti-inflammatory foods. So things that are anti-inflammatory, we've talked about this many times, would be things like good fish or healthy fats. Blueberries and berries are good for antioxidants. Lots of leafy greens. Those type of things are good for reducing inflammation. So you want to add those good foods in to help reduce inflammation in the body, because if you're constantly eating things that were triggering you, it's going to cause inflammation. And then adding in things like enzymes if you need it, if you need help with digesting, so adding in some enzymes, that's helpful too. And then also at this stage, you want to see if you need to get rid of any bad bacteria. If you have an overgrowth, that's where you would kind of do this. So the first stage was to remove, the second one was to replace with good gut healing, anti-inflammatory foods, those kind of things. Then the third step would be to add back in some good gut bacteria, because if you've constantly taken antibiotics or you're taking other medications, if you're not eating a nice variety of foods, you're probably not going to have a diverse gut microbiome. So that would be the third step, to add in some good either probiotics or some good probiotic foods can also be helpful, or prebiotics are good too. And the fourth step is where you would heal things. So kind of like I was mentioning, some of those licorice root, some other herbs to help heal, or amino acids to help rebuild the gut lining. That's kind of the last step, and you kind of seal up everything. So that's a little, that was a very quick way of how to heal your gut in 4 steps, and it's obviously more complicated and complex than that, but that's kind of what you want to do. So right now, if you're having symptoms and you don't know where to start, the first step to start would be eliminating those things that are triggering you. And we've talked about it before. You can do like a diet diary. You can do an elimination diet, which is what I had posted the video about just earlier this week. So that's the first step, figuring out what your food triggers are, so that way you can get them out of your system, you can let your body heal, and then you can work on healing the gut properly. So let me know if that was helpful. I can also do a video, like a quick 5-minute video, kind of going over those 4 steps again. And that way you can have an idea of how you can work on healing your gut and seeing what works for you. I have a stinging pain in my gut after eating some types of foods. Do you know what this could be? So this, it could be certain foods are causing, triggering your stomach, or it depends where the pain is too, right? If it's more stomach pain, it could be something like H. pylori. It could be something like an ulcer. Depends how bad this pain is. If it's more in the lower abdomen or the intestinal, maybe it's an overgrowth of bacteria, or maybe it's just you're having difficulty digesting your food. I would say maybe having something, if it's really stinging, then stinging and burning sensation, then work on soothing it, kind of like those herbs and stuff that we were talking about, the licorice, the marshmallow, they're helpful for soothing. But I would say you need to kind of figure out, step number 1, what are these foods that are causing this pain for you? And you're most likely going to have to avoid them for a little bit, and then add them back in once you work on soothing this pain that's caused, the stinging pain that's happening. But yeah, it depends how severe this pain. If it's pretty frequent and it's bothering you quite often, some things to think about would be if it's an H. pylori. Is it an issue with the liver, the gallbladder, bile issue? Is it a digestive enzyme issue, or is there some sort of overgrowth? But yeah, if you want to let me know a little bit more about it, I can try to help you out a bit. But that would be kind of some things that it could be due to. Or you're just you have difficult, whatever foods it is, you might just have a difficult time digesting these foods. Maybe they're very heavy foods, and then you have difficulty digesting it. So it's kind of just your stomach is not settled with it. Okay, good day, doctor. I have a question for you. Great. Yes, let me know your question. Yeah, I'll be happy to answer it. Sometimes, going back to the stinging pain, that can be a sign of just gastritis, which is basically inflammation of the stomach. So maybe the stomach is a little irritated and inflamed. So go back to the steps I was talking about. Number 1 would be eliminating those triggers. So go watch the elimination diet video, or do a diet diary for yourself, and that could be helpful. I was on antibiotics for a few weeks. Should I try some probiotic supplements? Yes. So whenever you're on antibiotics, kind of like what I was talking about before, when you're taking antibiotics or when you're taking chronic painkillers and stuff like Advil and those NSAIDs, they can irritate the gut lining, and then the antibiotics can get rid of your good gut bacteria. They get rid of the infection, so that's great, but then they can get rid of the good gut bacteria. So having a probiotic is helpful to replenish the good gut bacteria. Have a variety, try to increase the variety of your foods too. So try to maybe add some different foods into your diet too, because that can help also with just getting some good nutrients, because you probably got some good nutrients taken away too if you were sick. And then adding in some probiotic foods is also helpful. So that's things like yogurt is helpful, kefir, like pickled things. You can even make pickled veggies and stuff, or having like tempeh. Those are some helpful, good probiotic foods. So having both the probiotic and the food is helpful. And then you want to take it for, I would say, like at least a couple of months, and then see how you're doing after that. Then you can go back to taking it more so getting it through your foods. But for the supplement, you want to have it for a couple of months. And having a nice multi-strain is always the best. So multi-strain just means it's many of the different bacteria in the probiotic. All right. I have issues with certain types of foods, cream cheese for one. I get acid reflux from it. Is there a technique or method I could do, maybe slowly introduce it to my digestive system in small amounts and more frequently, so my digestive system can adapt to it better? Or is it that my digestive system just does not want to accept it? Also happens with pork. Pork doesn't give me GERD per se, however, it makes my stomach feel like it's eating itself. Yes, so in terms of like your question about adding it slowly back in, you definitely can. Like that's like I've worked with people and had it help them like, you know, first eliminate things and like going through the gut healing process and then adding them back in after and seeing if it works for you. Sometimes there's going to be a food that maybe just it doesn't work for you, and you might have to always avoid it, unfortunately, or you have it. And then when you do have it, I would suggest having it with an enzyme, or having it with some apple cider vinegar, something to help digest it, because it sounds like you're having difficulty digesting these things. Like cream cheese is pretty heavy, and pork is also pretty heavy too. So, and in terms of your stomach feel like it's eating itself, that's not really a good or normal thing to be happening. So potentially what could be happening here is these things are, you're either just, your body doesn't do well with them, so you need to take them out and work on healing things first, and then you can add it back in, like I was saying, with an enzyme or with some apple cider vinegar to help digest it and see if that works. And then, you know, you might, like I said, maybe you're never going to be able to eat it, and your body might never be able to tolerate it properly, because there are some foods that we just don't do well with, and you'll have to see at that time if that's something you want to suffer through and try to have it here and there, or if you're okay to just never have it. But yes, like to answer your question, you can adapt to it better. Maybe you need to like take it out for some time, also take out other triggers that you're having. Work on reducing some inflammation and then adding it back in, and try it when you add it back in, try it with an enzyme or with something to help digest it. And coffee hurts my stomach, at the very top of my stomach. I try to avoid coffee, but I tried coffee alternative and still causes the pain. Oh, that's interesting. So pain in your stomach, like coffee is pretty acidic, so it can irritate the stomach lining. But it's interesting that you tried the alternative and it still caused the pain. So, something, maybe something that was in the alternative was still something that irritated you. Um, Maybe having like trying tea or something and seeing if tea instead would be helpful. If you're gonna have coffee, you should never have it on an empty stomach. That would make things even worse. So, and in terms of coffee, I'm assuming if you tried decaf, it would still do the same thing because it's just coffee in the sense of it being acidic and not so much the caffeine. So yeah, that definitely sounds like from the symptoms that you're saying, like the stinging pain and the pain at the top of your stomach, it does sound like there's some sort of stomach inflammation going on there, and maybe even some sort of overgrowth. So making sure that there's nothing there. And then, like I said, try having some things to help soothe the irritation. But you might just have to avoid coffee if that's an issue that you constantly have, no matter how long you're avoiding it for. You might have to just always avoid having coffee. Try caffeine pills, supplements. So yeah, you could if you want the coffee for the boost of energy, you can try caffeine, or you can try something like matcha or green tea. Those are great alternatives that have some caffeine in it, and they're not acidic, so that's good. I love cream cheese though. It's a love-hate relationship. Yeah, I know. Like a lot of people have those with lots of foods. Love-hate relationship. The bagel itself too. I have it on. It's pretty heavy, so maybe the combination of the two is what puts my stomach into shambles. Yep, so it can definitely be like bagel gluten. It is pretty heavy to digest, and then the cream cheese on top of it. So yeah, so maybe either like I said, try to have an enzyme or something. It might help break it down a bit better. But of course, that's not eliminating the issue. It's kind of like a band-aid option. But if you want to have a bagel every now and then, yes. If you're having bagels every day, if you're having them weekly, then it's probably not a good thing to do. But if you want it on the rare occasion, have it with something to help digest it. Yeah, I feel that too with coffee. Can't drink it. Yeah, I mean, coffee irritates a lot of people. I would say number one, if you want to try having coffee, have a big glass of water, like a pretty big glass of water before you have it. Have it with food, and then try to not have too much coffee. Also, I don't know, are you putting cream and sugar in the coffee? Or milk, or maybe the combination of all of that irritates you too? Because milk is pretty, like milk and cream can be fatty, sugar is heavy. So figure out what kind of like it is that's causing the issue. You can try to have it, maybe a little bit of black coffee with food and having a big glass of water, seeing how that works. If you don't really care for the coffee and it's more so you want something like a creamy kind of drink, then I would say go for make a matcha with a nice milk or milk alternative and have that instead. Tea doesn't hurt your stomach, so that's good. So then it's definitely probably the acidity of the coffee, and like I said, maybe it's mixed with cream, and yeah, so you're saying yes, cream and sugar. So yes, maybe that combination of the cream that's heavy, all of these, and the acidity of the coffee. Tea is good. Yes, it is. I feel like breakfast is the hardest meal to decide on what to make. Yes, I feel that too, especially when it takes a long time to make and if it creates a mess. What different types of breakfast ideas do you have that are quick to make and okay to eat? Yes, so if you want something like quick, I always say the best thing is to kind of prepare things the night before, whatever that be. So let's say you're going to do an omelet. So then cut up all your veggies the night before. So that way, like cooking eggs is very quick. You just quickly fry eggs, veggies, and have it ready to go. If you're going to do oatmeal, I think I talked about overnight oats before. where you just like already have it all made in a jar, and then you have that ready to go in the morning. So you can have it cold, or you can heat it up on the stove, and that way it's all already made and you just heat it up and it's ready to go. What other things? Like if you like protein shakes and stuff, you can have all the ingredients, put them in a freezer bag, put it in the freezer, and then throw it in the morning in the blender with your, what's it called, your liquid of choice, and then you blend it and it's ready to go. So I think that having things ready to go are important. You can even make like breakfast burritos and freeze them. I've seen, I haven't personally tried that, but I've seen recipes on that before where you like have it made and you make a few of them and then you freeze them and you put in the freezer. I've personally made like mini egg bites where you basically just have what it's called, like it's just eggs and chopped up veggies, and you put them in little muffin tins and you bake it in the oven, and then you store it in the fridge, and they're kind of like just little egg bites ready to go. You can have it with whole grain bread in the morning. What else can you do for breakfast? You can even just have like fruits cut up, fruits washed. That helps make things easier. Like fruits already washed. It's kind of difficult to peel fruits ahead of time because they can go brown. But like fruits and berries, have them already washed to go. Breakfast muffins are another good thing. So that would be like you can do banana, oats, different types of chia seeds and nuts. And they taste good because they have the banana, which sweetens them. So you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to be like excess sugar. So don't put sugar in these and don't put flour. You're going to use like whole oats and whole banana, kind of like you would make oatmeal, but it's just going to be like in muffin tins. So you can bake those and then those can be ready to go. And then in the morning you can have it with like yogurt or something like that, or nut butter if you want some extra protein in it. You could even put protein in them and bake them. So there's different, I say like the best thing if you want something quick is going to be like you have to make it ahead of time. Otherwise it's going to take too long. And then save it for the weekend or whenever you have a day off. Then you can, take those days to maybe do sauteed like veggies with potatoes and eggs, or you can make pancakes or something more. But I would say the best thing would be to kind of prepare things. You can do things like beans and different sorts of veggies and potatoes and cook them one morning and then have those the rest of like the other days too. So having something ready. I hope that was helpful. But yes, that I agree. Like it's hard in the morning because things do take time. I personally find like hard if I don't have like eggs. I find that it's hard for me to get protein in the morning. So unless I have eggs or protein, I'm using protein powder. I find that I struggle a little bit too. So that's why I like things like having eggs or having things like a protein shake, or putting protein powder in oatmeal can be helpful too. Greek yogurt is a great one if you're able to tolerate yogurt. Yeah. Okay. Let me know if that was helpful. Okay, you mentioned enzymes a few times, something that helps you digest. Can you quickly restate a couple of foods, drinks that work as enzymes? Okay, so in terms of foods, apple cider vinegar, or I guess drinks, foods, apple cider vinegar is a good one. So these ones are going to be kind of supporting your body's natural enzymes. The enzymes I was also referring to was buying like actual capsules called digestive enzymes. Those ones have all the enzymes that you have, plus some of them will have bile in it, and that's very helpful for digesting. So those ones are pretty powerful, but if you want it from foods, apple cider vinegar is a good one. We talked about papaya and pineapple before. They have good enzymes in them. And then things like bitter foods, so things like arugula, kale, radicchio, endive, dill, those kind of things are, when you chew them, they're a little bitter, and rapini, and they're bitter, and they help to stimulate your like salivary enzymes and get your digestive juices flowing. So those would be some ones. So I would say apple cider vinegar is a good one. The bitter greens that I talked about, and then some fruits like papaya and pineapple. I had an oatmeal banana cookie square for breakfast. That was delish. That sounds great. So yes, like those kind of things where you're using oatmeal, oats, and banana is very like helpful and very tasty, and you don't have to have excess sugar in them. Which cereal is good for breakfast? Okay, so which cereal is good for breakfast? I honestly don't really. Hold on, just give me 1 second. Cereal is difficult to have because it can be sugary, and sometimes like you have to be careful. We're getting lots of spam here. I'm just gonna delete all of these. Okay, you have to be careful with cereal. Like I was saying, sometimes they're filled with sugar, or sometimes they can have like unwanted additives to it. So I would kind of suggest making your kind of own, what they call like a muesli, or your own granola. And that's basically just taking oats, and then, so if you want to do it in the muesli form, it's like the raw uncooked form. So it's basically like just oats with a bunch of different seeds, coconut flakes, or you can make it into a granola where you bake it on a baking tray, and you put like some oil with oats, and again, like pumpkin seeds, hemp hearts. You can put a little bit of maple syrup to make it like a bit crunchier together. Coconut flakes, you can put peanut butter if you want to flavor it, or you can put tahini if you want that kind of flavor, cocoa powder. That would be a good way of making your own kind of granola. In terms of like one, if you really want to buy a cereal, what's the brand? The brand Nature's Path it's organic, and it has pretty good good quality stuff. They do still use like I think it's like one of the sugars. I can't remember if they use a syrup or maple syrup or brown rice sugar. I think it's rice syrup. They're still going to use that because it of course has to be flavor, like taste pretty good. But I would say just look at the sugar content and try to get ones that have like less than 10 grams per cup would be a good one. And then try not to have too much of it. Have some fruits with it. Maybe you can do like half cereal and then half of your own like oats or something like that. With the typical cereals like Cheerios and those other ones, like they're very processed. They're not the greatest. So I would say try, if you're gonna have cereal, then try not to have it too often, or try to make your own kind of thing. Second cup has a great breakfast cookie. Yes, so like breakfast cookies are really good, and they're easy to do because you can just make them, and like I said, you can put them in the freezer. So it's going to take some time to do ahead of time, but then you'll have the stuff ready to go. So breakfast cookies are great. So again, breakfast cookies are similar things like I was talking about, where you put like oats, you can do banana, different types of pumpkin seeds and all that, chia seeds. Like something like almond butter is a great way to help it, or peanut butter is a great way to help it like stay together. You can put eggs in it because you're baking it, so that's a great thing. And then eggs will give it some protein too. Yogurt with granola and berries is good. Yes, that's a great one to have. That's a great quick breakfast if you want something. You got yogurt that's got some protein in it. I always say go with a plain yogurt because then if you're having like yogurt that has sugar in it, and then you're putting granola has sugar and the berries with sugar, it's always good to go with a plain yogurt, and then you can just like have some sweetness from the berries. You can even put sliced bananas on it. It gives it some sweetness. It was very helpful. Thank you, doctor. You're welcome. I can't afford second cup, only no frills. Then I would suggest to make your own cookies. Don't get the no frills ones. I don't know. Maybe they have good ones there. I'm not sure. But I would say it's probably better to make your own stuff. Good. Thank you. You're welcome. For pre-made cereals, how many grams of sugar per serving? Yes, I did answer that. You're welcome. So I would say, yeah, like 10 grams for a cup would be like, don't try not to get more than that. Anything like lower. Yeah. Okay, great. Let me know if you have any other questions. We talked about quite some good stuff here. We went off a little bit about breakfast, which is great because that's helpful. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people struggle with breakfast, but I think it's, I don't know, I guess because it's like you're rushing to work, you don't really know what to have, and like it is you can't, I don't know, you could have chicken if you wanted for breakfast. You could have tofu. Oh, tofu is another good option for, I don't know if you like tofu or tempeh, but that's a good option of having a good source of protein, and it's pretty versatile, so it's a good option too. You could even do like, again, this would be preparing, but you could buy like ground chicken or ground turkey and make like, patties kind of, and have that with different veggies and stuff for breakfast. Okay. I thought of Reese's Puffs the other day. If I have it with almond milk, are the undesirable ingredients in the puffs negated? No, they're not. Yeah, Reese's Puffs, and then I think there was like Tim Hortons Timbits cereal. Oh, I saw that the other day. I was like, I think they're just sugar bombs. So no, even if you have it with almond milk, that doesn't negate the negative effects of it. Because again, like, it's still pretty sugary, so no. But if you want to try it and see how once in a while, it's okay. But I would say it's better to just avoid it and go for whole foods, healthier foods. Yeah. Because it's not giving you those types of cereals are not really giving you much, nutrition. They're giving you sugar, which is going to keep you full for shortly, and then your sugar going to go into a sugar crash, and then it's not going to keep you full, and then you're going to get hungry and want to overeat after. So it's just that vicious cycle. So it's always good to nourish your body with trying to get some good protein, healthy fats, some good carbohydrates. So even having like potatoes or sweet potatoes for breakfast is a good thing to have, and then they're very nutritious. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions for today, and then if not, we'll kind of wrap it up. Okay. Yeah, I think that would be kind of all we talk about. So if anything you want to take away from today, for those that are having those gut issues, I would say try to figure out what your trigger foods are. So either go do the elimination diet in the video that I posted earlier this week, or do like a diet diary. Eliminate those foods. You do have to eliminate them I talked about this in the video, for like at least 4 weeks before you add them back in to see if they're bothering you. Because it's important to get rid of these triggers in order to heal your gut and be able to heal things properly. Okay. So I think that's it for today then. Thanks everybody for coming, and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content like this where we have Q&As about certain health topics, and I can help you, heal your symptoms that you're experiencing and help give you tips and stuff, and we can talk in the chat and see what other people have to say. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let me know if there's any content that you want to see. I'm always here to, try new things and bring you new content that you'd be interested in seeing. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful Friday, October the 1st. Happy 1st of October, and have a great weekend. And then I'll see you all next week again. We'll kind of do the same thing, talk about a certain health topic, and I'll be here to answer questions. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Good night.